I'm not going to talk about being a spiritual orphan in a Christian context. I'm going to speak about being an orphan in a spiritual context. And what I mean by a spiritual orphan is someone who was born with both mom and dad, or who grew up with parental figures and is completely, blackballed, or is the black sheep of their family. And a lot of the times what people don't understand is that the spiritual journey, even though you may have come into this world by your parents, right? By your mother and your father, you might not have a connection or a bond with them, although they have raised you up until this point. But it does come a point in the spiritual journey for some, and not all, where you will not have any parents, you will not have any support, you will not have any family. You lack a family, a physical family in the third dimension, which is why it's so important for you to find your soul tribe. It's so important for you to find mentorship. It's so important for you to find help, or at least guidance, or someone who can help you on your journey, because the spiritual world is very, very not only isolating and lonely, but it can be very scary. There's plenty of instances, or there's plenty of situations where you may feel completely abandoned, or it can even make you feel so closed off from the third dimension and people who are walking in modern day society, because they don't understand the things that you go through spiritually, especially your family, especially if you're a chosen one. And being a chosen one can be very isolating, as you no longer, once you get to some certain point in your spiritual journey, you are no longer connecting with certain people, and that could be old friends and that can be family. There's like a disconnect between you and them, because you start to see the world for what it truly is. You start to see the warfare. You start to see the purpose of people who were placed into your life, right? And that's the thing. Some people don't understand that your parents, right, your biological parents who brought you into this world, there are sometimes you have karmic lessons and attachments that need to be healed from a past life, which is why you've had this connection or bond with them. This is why you can date so many different people, and in your head you're like, I've dated this person before, this is just the same person in a different skin. And that's because sometimes people are placed into your life as a lesson to be able to heal yourself, to be able to move forward. And that's why at some point when you get to your spiritual journey and you're very deeply connected to your spirit in the other dimensions, the spiritual realm, that's why it's harder for you to connect to certain people, because they're so stuck in this third dimension. They have so much karmic contracts that they haven't cleared up. They have so much karmic cords that they have not learned to burn, or cycles that they continuously repeat. And once you start understanding that, once you start healing yourself, once you start closing those cycles, once you start healing those contracts or breaking those contracts, then you start to move forward and you start to realize these people are being picked out of your life. And why is that? It's because you moved on and you ascended further into your journey, and it's time for you to move forward, but those people haven't. Everyone has a choice. And a lot of people don't realize that many of us, if anything, any of us all inhabit spiritual gifts. We all have purpose. We all have meaning while we're here. But very few actually decide to walk on that path. Very few actually decide to move forward. And those who do decide to move forward realize this is a very lonely path, which is why you may feel like an orphan, even though you may have had siblings, even though you may have had family. 9 times out of 10, if you were the black sheep of your family, you're going to experience not only a lot of grief, but a lot of warfare and a lot of negativity, a lot of curses that were placed on you because of that family that you have came from. And there's times because of your relatives and their lineage, they have bestowed that upon you, and it was your purpose, it was your reason to be able to break that. There are some people who are lucky enough to continue to move forward with certain family members, or even a partner, because they realized that was their purpose together, right? But there are some people who were put on this path that do have a lonely path until they can come and meet their soul tribe or their soul family, and then they're able to move forward with other people. But there is a point in time where you're going to feel very isolated, you're going to feel very alone, and you're going to feel like you have no one to call upon. But understand that when you are feeling that way, and in those times, you will always have your spirits around you. As long as you are deeply connected to your spirit and yourself, the spirits that are around you and your ancestors, you'll be able to move forward. You'll be able to accomplish and achieve anything that you desire, and understand your purpose, not only with helping the collective, but your purpose for why you are here and what it is that you are meant to do while you are here during this cycle. Whether you're going to be someone who decides to come again, whether you're going to be someone who's going to be a spirit guide that's going to guide others, you have to understand that in this lifetime you still serve a purpose. And even though you may feel isolated, even though you may feel alone, even if you have a family that you were born with and came into this world with, it doesn't mean that you're always going to be connected to them. And that's okay, because your people, your tribe, what you're meant to do, they are out there, right? All of that exists, it's out there, but it's a matter of you completing those cycles and really focusing on what it is that you are meant to do while you're here, and attracting those people in and breaking the cords, disconnecting yourself from any contracts that are from a past life or a negative cycle that you no longer need to continue to do anymore, because you know what you're supposed to do. You're no longer living in that negative timeline. You're no longer in a timeline where you were unconscious or unaware of those negativities and those curses that you were carrying. Not that you're conscious, now that you're able to heal that cycle, you're able to move forward. And it's really just that simple. It's just a matter of having the correct guidance and understanding who you are truly at the core, and allowing yourself to be alone when it's time for you to be alone, and connecting with your spirits and connecting with yourself so that you're able to move forward.